I'm going to show you guys how to make a speaker cabinet like this, where you have an impedance switch that goes from 16 ohms to 4 ohms, and this also has two different inputs. So this just powers that speaker at its ohms, 8 ohms, and then this one powers just this speaker. So I can actually have both of these speakers going off separate amps as long as they're 8 ohms and under 60 watts. Or I can have both of them going at either 4 ohms or 16 ohms. It's pretty nice, just simply select it. Today I'm going to show you how to make an impedance switch so that you can change the impedance on your speaker cabinet with a simple switch. So right now I have two 8 ohm speakers wired in series, which adds them together, it doubles them. So instead of 8 ohms each, they're now 16 ohms. And I'm going to make a switch so that I have that, and also I can have it in parallel, which will make them 4 ohm speakers. And so I will show you guys how to do that. Here's the switch that I will be using for this project. But before we get into that, let's talk about parallel and series wiring. So this is parallel. There would be my two speakers, my two 8 ohm speakers, and that's my amp. So all the positives that go together and all the negatives go together. And these two 8 ohm speakers wired in parallel will give me a 4 ohm load. So I can plug that into a speaker cabinet that needs a 4 ohm load. Series. This is where the negatives and positives are together. So here's my amp, goes into the positive, and then the negative of that speaker goes to the positive of the other speaker, and then the negative of that speaker goes to the amp. And these two 8 ohm loads will end up doubling, so they'll be added together, so that'll be a 16 ohm load. And so those are the two different ways I want my speaker cabinet wired, so that I will have more of an option. Here's my wiring diagram. This is the switch I'll be using, and that represents the switch right there. When I flip this switch over to one way, it completes two paths, two circuits, completes these, and then these would be open, these would be closed. Switch it the other way, and then these two would now be open, and these two would be closed. Okay, so these represent my speakers, and that represents my amp. Let's start with parallel. I'm going to flip the switch over to parallel. The signal is going to leave my amp. It's going to, well, let's see, what does it need to do in parallel? It needs to go from positive to positive, and that positive also needs to go to there. All the positives need to go together, and all the negatives need to go together. So let's follow the path. There's one positive. Now it needs to go to the other positive, so let's follow the trail. It's going down here, goes into my switch, which is switched over to parallel, so that's completed, and then right there it goes to my positive, my other speaker. And it also goes down here, but this is an open circuit, so it does not go there. Now let's do the negative. This negative needs to go here and here, so let's follow it. It goes down here, it goes to that speaker, alright. Now it goes down here into my switch. This is completed, and it goes to the negative on my other speaker. That one's completed. Alright, now let's switch it to series. With series, my positive, positive amp, it'll go to the positive side of one speaker and the negative side of the other speaker. Both of these speakers need to go negative to positive. basically it needs to go out of my amp to the positive, and this negative needs to go to the positive, and then this negative goes to the amp. Alright, it's wired there. The positive goes to negative. Let's see where else it goes. It goes down here, but it's not in parallel right now, so it can't go through there. That's an open circuit, so it doesn't go that way. It goes through here. And then the negative needs to go to this positive of the other speaker. Let's follow that. It goes down here into the switch, and it's on this side, it's on series, so that's a completed circuit. It goes over here, goes up there, and it goes to the positive. It also goes down here, but it can't hop over there because that's an open circuit. There's nothing over here. So now the negative goes right to the negative. Alright. And it also goes down here. It goes down here, but this is open, so that's a dead end. Alright, and that's the switch. So now I'm going to put it together and show you guys as I do it. This is speaker wire, so I'm going to start with separating them. I'm going to wire all these up to here, and then after I do that, then I'm going to label where they go to make this much easier to install. The camera shut off and I lost some footage, so let's recap. Put heat shrink on the ends to protect it. And then I labeled everything. I went through each one. I'd go, this leg goes to the amp positive, so then I did that to the wire. Put amp positive, and then the next one says speaker 2 positive, speaker 2 positive. So I labeled them to make it a lot easier for the install. I made these plates for the guitar amp, so this one, my switch, it'll be on the back of the amp. My switch will be here, and I'll have my speaker jack. And this will go on the front of the amp because it used to be a combo amp. So this will fill the space of the old electronics. I decided to do an extra thing. I have these two jacks that I will be putting here. Let me get a different angle on the camera to show you what they're for. This is what I'm going to wire both of my speakers to. The positive and negative will go on here, so that when I insert a jack, it will cut off the rest of the circuit, so I can use just that speaker and not the rest of the circuit. But then when I take this out, the rest of the circuit will be closed so that I can use it the way I designed it. And I'm going to have two of these ones for each speaker, so my cabinet will be separated so that I can have my two 8-ohm speakers played through separate low wattage amps.